Hi, and welcome into another video on this channel. So today we'll have a little bit of an AWS use case. Let's say we want to create a very dummy API which will give us back some kind of a dummy and fake exchange rates dynamically. So with each call, we would like to get a separate values, and we would like to do it for euro and let's say for USD. We will utilize AWS Lambda for that with a function URL. So let's hop to AWS console and also VS Code and work on that. All right, so we are back in the AWS console and let's, as mentioned, navigate to Lambda. We will create ourselves a very basic function which we will author for scratch, and let's say call it Demi API. We will use Node 20 for it, and we will write the code in the Node.js, and there is some additional configuration that we will enable function URL, which will just gives us an HTTPS endpoint which is exposed to the world that we can use to invoke this function. This way, it's a very simple approach. We don't need to build API gateway solution around that. So let's do it. Authentication will be none, so it will be the very public one. And this rest, let's say, will stay as is. So we will do create. And let's just wait a moment for it to be created. And now we have our very basic Lambda function. We have a code here in Node.js, and let's code it, but let's code it in a Visual Studio Code and then do a copy and paste. It will be much easier for us regarding the formatting. So I will switch to VS Code. And let's create ourselves a very basic dummy exchange rate JS. We will get back to it for a moment and we will just copy the code which we got, and I will paste it here. And here, let's think what we would like to do. So right now, I'm in Poland, so we will be doing a dummy exchange rate API to which we will be able to call either a /euro route or either a /USD, and it will give us every time the different value between some ranges. So in order to do that, we need to know how to handle routes in the Lambda. So we will firstly go back here, and we have this event object. So let's say we would like to get back this event. So we will do it this way. I will take this JSON stringify. We will put here the event itself. Then we will put null, so we won't be changing any of the view. And I will type 2 here. So what it will do, it will be a very basic JSON.stringify function, which is in JavaScript, and we will get this formatted with indents of 2 spaces for each line. So let's deploy this function and let's test it. And let's run a very basic test without any payload. So we will see that our body gives us only those responses. So let's get back here. Yeah, so this will be it. And let's right now see this function URL. So I will take it from, it was here, function URL, and here is the URL that can be done to invoke this. And as you can see, between this very basic test execution, which had only of body of those keys which we passed, in the browser we have many other stuff like all the headers and so on and so on. And let's here do what we want to do. So let's do /USD, and let's see if anywhere here will be this USD, and I will make a search for that. And as you can see, yeah, inside the event object, we have the request context, and under request context, we have HTTP, and here we have the method and the path. So if we know it's in the request context and in under HTTP and path, we can do simple ifs. So let's get back to our function, and here the first thing we will do, we will take the path. So we will do const path. It will equal to event.requestContext.http.path. Let's just see if we have it right. So under request context, there is an HTTP and there is a path. So here we should have a path. And now let's create a very basic helper function. So I will do it this way, that we will create a very basic helper function. Then when you pass the minimum range and the maximum range, it gives us the value. So then we can invoke those functions with different ranges of the value and of the currency that we want to use, depending on the path. So here we will do it this way. I will declare generate exchange rate, and we will pass min and max, and we will use combination of mat_random to do it. So we will return mat.random, and then we are multiplying it by the difference and adding the minimum value. So this is a very common approach in the JavaScript to generate a number from the range that you want to in fact have. But we would do it just for the sake of the better seeing that. We will take it to fixed, and we will use the for after the 4 decimal points. So we will do it this way, and I will write it in to fixed 4, and at the end I will just add plus here. It is a very basic also JavaScript approach, because if we will wrap it in this to fixed function, it will give us with up to 4 decimal points but in fact string. So I'm using this plus to just convert it, parse it to the number. And here at the end, we will do a very basic approach regarding the response. So we will be actually returning this number. But if we are returning this number, we need to know that what value it was. So this where this path comes in. So we will just implement here a very basic if. So if path is equal to /USD, let's get back here. We can see that the whole path is under a slash. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. So if the path is equal to /USD, or we would be able to, let's say, path includes and then just the USD. So if it's this way, and here let's declare ourselves a very basic response object with only a status code of 200, and I will take this out of the equation, and here we will update this response. So we will do response.body. We will JSON stringify the exchange rate, and we will use this generate exchange rate. And actually, right now in Poland, it will be somewhere between 3.8 and let's say 4.0. And in other way, if it will be /euro, I will return JSON stringify the same exchange rate, and we will do something between 4.3 and 4.5. So this will be our approach to that. And we can do a very else clause that if we are not matching it, we will do something with that. So let's say we will change the status code and update it with a not found one. So here at the end, we will just return this response. So after everything coded and formatted, let's get back to our function. Let's get back to the code. It can be also uploaded from S3 or a zip file, or you can even do a Dockerized Lambda. So we will just write this code here and let's just deploy it. And then let's get back to our URL here. So I will do a /.usd, and we can see that in the response we are getting the exchange rate and 3.908. As we see in our VS Code, we were wanting to generate something from 3.8 to 4.0, so that is a match. And let's change it to euro. We will get 44148, and we can see that we are wanting to having 4.3 to 4.5. And if we will write anything else here, let's say some dummy value like ABC, we will get not found because we are getting into this else block of the whole block. If we would like to get it a little bit better, then actually right now this is sent back as a text. So we would need to add headers here, headers, the content type of application JSON, and here it would work more or less the same if we would deploy it one more time, but the difference is like in the perception of how this data is being loaded into the browser. So let's say if we would be using a Postman, then if we know that in the headers we got application JSON, not the text, it will automatically switch to the formatting and parse this JSON. So that is a very basic approach to creating such dummy API. I hope you like it, and see ya in another video.